Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Terry.
And we're escaping the empty nest.
Hey everybody, we're back again with another excursion tip for you. Our excursion video, not necessarily, it's several tips, and hopefully this will be helpful to you. So you're taking a Western Caribbean cruise and you're going to Belize. I know a lot of people that say, I'm not getting off the ship in Belize. And
it's a pain because of the tendering.
It's a tender port. You have to take a ship that's about 5 miles to shore and all that. But
20 minutes.
A lot of people worry about safety issues and stuff like that. Well, we decided to book a tour there, and we were very glad we did. We booked a tour with cavetubing.bz. And the information we're about to give you on this video may not apply to all the cave tubing companies, but this was our experience with them.
Now, I signed us up for the excursion through email, and I had to give them my phone number and stuff like that. And they were contacting us through WhatsApp while we were still trying to get off the ship. There was a lot of problems with Vista getting off the ship in time that we'll probably go into another video. But the point is, they told us to get off as soon as possible, and we did. But it was still 9:40 or so, 9:40, 9:45 before we were able to get off the ship. Most of the people that were taking that tour were already ashore because they had gone earlier times. But there were a few people on our tender boat that were in the same group as ours. Now, if we had been an hour later, if we hadn't even worked to get as hard as we did to get off the ship, then they probably would have started the tour without us. They would have said, sorry, you missed it. So if you do decide to take a tender boat excursion that requires you to get off the ship, please, 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 for the sake of the entire group, get off early.
Try to get off as early as you possibly can, yes. All right, so he booked the tour for us, and it was $50 per person, which seemed a little bit steep, but it was definitely less expensive than Carnival's cave tubing excursions.
There were a couple things about the excursion that were a little unclear and could have been clarified better ahead of time. For an example, in the email they sent us, and I'll put the email hipper on here on the screen, they talked about make sure you bring water shoes, but also like hiking boots or tennis shoes, because we knew there would be a walk to get to the part where we get in the river with the cave. But the problem is that we got there, and as soon as we parked, they said, okay, get your water shoes on, and then, which means, of course, taking off your tennis shoes, your hiking boots. Well, the problem with that is we were anticipating a fairly long walk to get to the river, and it's like, why did we bring hiking boots if they're telling us to get into water shoes as soon as we got there? And I don't have the toughest feet in the world. I have fairly tender feet. And to walk on very rocky terrain in water shoes was actually kind of painful for me. I wish I had maybe some hard sole sandals to wear instead. It would have been a more appropriate choice for the terrain. Now, speaking of the hike, on the way there, our tour guide said
it was a quarter to a half a mile hike to get to the place where we got in the river for the cave tubing.
I was like, cool, I can do that.
Yes, we both thought, hey, cool, we could do that.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, you're not only walking, you're carrying a tube with you as well.
Huge tube, yeah.
You have to cross a river holding onto a rope and your tube to get to the first part. So the second guide kind of lagged behind with the rest of us that were walking. We talked to him more and he goes, oh, no, it's not a half a mile walk, it's 2 miles. So it ended up being a very hard 2 miles for us. So if you're in, we're not in the best of shape. We got kind of excited about a quarter or a half mile. We're like, we could do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But the 2 miles was kind of hard. Our group kind of ended up spreading out with the younger people being at the very front and way ahead with one guide and us back with another couple.
And they would stop and wait on us.
They would stop to wait on us, but as soon as we'd get to where they stopped, they'd start again. So we never got to rest. All the young people got to rest.
Yeah. We're not sure where the confusion came from, where our guide told us a quarter to a half mile. That was not in the email.
Not at all.
Certainly 2 miles of rough terrain was not in the email. They kind of sprang that on us. So we're just passing along that information to kind of give a heads up for other people that may not be in the best of shape, and the difference between a quarter mile and 2 miles might make the difference whether you're going to do this tour or not.
So the actual tubing was great. You get up there to the river, and they tie all of your rafts together to make one big long raft. And you've got one guide at the front. We had one guide at the back that were kind of like paddling to make sure we'd go into, we didn't knock into something or whatever. But the cave formations, some of them were really beautiful.
Oh,
some
it
of
was
the
great, yeah.
some of the formations, like he was pointing out, look, that looks like the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus, the way it was formed. And
Well, that one looked like a jellyfish.
yeah, that one looked, yeah. And the only problem is that you had several different groups that were in there at the same time, and so every tour guide was giving their spiel about what was going on. I have a hard time hearing, and so when there's too much going on, I just kind of lose focus. You know, once you got through the cave, it was just like a really smooth, relaxing ride, tubing ride, all the way back basically to that starting point I told you where you had to cross the river by a rope.
There's about 1 mile of cave tubing and then 1 mile of open river tubing, and I don't even know how long it took. I can put the times once we look at the video description down below. I was using my GoPro, and just because it was waterproof. But that raises another point. I specifically used a GoPro because it was waterproof. At no time did I ever feel like it was rough enough that we were close at all to dumping out or falling out of the tubes. Like I say, all 11 of us in the group were lashed together. It felt more like a stable boat than it did an individual tube. Yeah. So and the water's never very deep. The water's never more than probably 3 or 4 feet deep at the most. Most of the time it's just a couple feet deep.
So as soon as we turned in our life vests, our helmets, and our tubes, we got back into the bus. We were given an opportunity to dry off and change if you had a change of clothes there, and then we went back to their business office where they had prepared a lunch for us. It was good. It was rice and beans and some chicken, and it was really delicious. The portion sizes were a little small.
And a really good Coca-Cola.
And a really good Coca-Cola. One thing I do want to make sure, I know all day, because we got started late and stuff, our guys were concerned about making sure that we would get back to the port in time.
And I know a lot of people are nervous about purchasing non-Carnival excursions because of the guarantee that if you're late, Carnival will wait for you. These guys did everything. They were constantly thinking about what time they needed to have us back to the boat. In fact, when we got there a good hour before the last tender boat was going to go back. So we weren't, there was never a point where we were nervous about getting back to the ship in time. Now, every cruise ship is different, and like we said earlier, this cave tubing does tours for all kinds of different cruise ships. But if you're on Carnival and you have Faster to the Fun or some kind of priority disembarkation for tours, that's great. If you don't, what we learned on this trip, and this has changed after COVID, is you go to the one of the bars early in the morning and you get a ticket with a number on it. There's like a zone for going down to the tender boat area, and they call several zones at one time. Now, we were told that either between 7 or 7:30 there was some conflicting information. That's when they were going to hand out the tickets. So we got there at 7 because the cruise director was saying 7:30, but we got there 7 anyway, which is what it said in the Hub app. Well, it turns out they were passing out tickets for a good hour before that. So if you want to make sure you get in that first group, you may want to try even as early as 6 o'clock in the morning to get your little zone ticket. Yeah. So we end up with zone 7, and when they finally started calling zones, they called zones 1 through 5, and then they call zones 6 through 12. So it really wouldn't have mattered whether we got zone 6 or zone 12. It all would have been in the same zone. We all would have been basically the third group of tender boats. First group was Faster to the Fun and priority boarding like diamonds and platinums and stuff like that. And the second group was zones 1 through 5, which we hoped to be on. The next group was zones 6 through 12, but they still waited on us.
If you have any comments, if you've been to Belize before, if you've done a cave tubing with a different company, or if you've done another excursion that you want to tell us about, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. We read every comment and respond back to you. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and we will have more videos coming out soon.
We appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and
bye for now.